Well, here we are back at Nationwide Arena. The Blue Jackets playing in the second round at home for the first time in franchise history, tied at one game apiece with the Boston Bruins in this best-of-7 series. Bob McKelligan along with Jean-Luc Grandpierre and Jody Shelley. And, guys, it's really nice to be back here, and Jody especially, to go on the road and get a split, which is what you're hoping for to start a playoff series.
Yeah, and they could have won both games, and I love that about the attitude of not only the Blue Jackets, their fans. You know, they saw their team go up late in that game one. Had the game in the bag, but then it got away, went to overtime. Okay, but I like the way the team regrouped for game two, and you're right. To get that second win at home, relax, come back, have a day off, they're geared up for game three at home.
Jean-Luc, we knew the series was going to be close, and both of the first two games going into overtime, one into double overtime. I didn't know if we knew it was going to be that close, but here it is, and I guess we shouldn't expect anything different tonight, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be the same type of game, and what I love about the Blue Jackets right now is that game one where they were completely out of it in that first period, they still found a way to put themselves back in a position to win the game. No, they didn't win that game, but again, Sergei Bobrovsky was so strong for them that he really gave them a chance to win that game, although they lost it.
And Jody, that's really kind of a theme in this playoffs, isn't it? Every time the Blue Jackets get down in a position, they've kept the opposition where they've been able to get right back in the game.
They're confident, and I really think, like what Jean-Luc just said, the goaltending gives them confidence, but I think the structure they play in now. I think guys like Duchesne, who came here, wanted to score every single shift, wanted to change things right away and every play, has figured out in the playoffs that you've got a role to do. You've got a job to do within this structure and this system. You do your job, and when you get a chance, put the puck in the net. Now, I think that they really do get the belief from that, how they have to play and what they're expected of, mostly from each other.
And you mentioned Duchesne. He's one of a lot of guys that really this is uncharted territory for them. It is for this franchise, but there are players here that have been in this spot with other teams. With Jean-Luc, there's a lot of guys that haven't been here, and they're learning on the fly.
Yeah, it is a young group, yet somehow they're playing with so much confidence right now, which is fun to do. They're all learning together. It's all a new adventure for every single one of them, pretty much, but they're really embracing the challenge and playing well under pressure right now.
One guy that had not played in weeks is Alexander Wenberg, but all of a sudden he was called in to play in Game 2 of this series in Boston, and with a tight series with two teams that are very evenly matched, special teams is going to be a difference, and it has been for the Blue Jackets. Their power play has been very good, but their penalty kill is better with Alexander Wenberg, and guys, whether he's blocking shots or intercepting passes, he just knows how to get it done.
You know what? He's a player that we judge on his offensive output, and we really shouldn't, because he took away plays, passing lanes, he blocked shots. That's a courageous play, I'll tell you that. You don't want to be doing that and unless you're in the playoffs and you're expected to, and he did a great job. I just love the way he played with confidence. Not an easy situation. His first shift was a little overwhelming. He got hit, he lost the puck, but after that he was perfect, and especially in the defensive zone, and that's where they really need him.
And, yeah, there's offense has been spread out on this team. And, yes, you'd like to see him add some offense. But right now, in a playoff series, the defense is just as important, maybe a little more.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think that's why John Tortorella pulled Ryan Dzingel out, because he's not known for his defense necessarily, and his offensive output wasn't like it was pretty much nothing at this point. So for them to put Alexander Wenberg in that position, they know that he's going to bring you a sound game defensively, and he was huge on a penalty kill from the Blue Jackets.
And the other thing, Bob, and you know this too, when you've got a guy like Wenberg waiting to get in the lineup, you better play well. And it's been a while since they had a loss and had that, a game where they were wondering what was happening. So Dzingel comes out on that game. Will he be back tonight? Texier didn't play for 34 minutes or more in that last game in Boston. He's got veteran players now like Dzingel who are waiting to get in there. A guy with speed, and a guy he didn't want to sit out. Guys that sit out, we know, when you come back, you want to prove more.
And Alexander Texier, you mentioned it. He made a mistake in the third period of the game the other night. It was a big mistake. It was a big turnover. Bobrovsky bailed him out on that, and then he never touched the ice after that, even through going into the second overtime. So, Jean-Luc, he's a young guy. He's 19 years old. I think we all got spoiled very quickly watching him come over here and play, and the Blue Jackets winning the first 6 games that he ever appeared in the National Hockey League. And it makes you forget how young he is and how much he's challenged in a series against a team like this.
Absolutely, and that's a learning experience for him. I don't think it's going to shake his confidence whatsoever. The magnitude of these games right now is so huge and amplified. He's never been in a situation like that, and I'm sure John Tortorella talked to him, aside after the game, to let him know the reason why he didn't play. But, I'm expecting big things from this kid. If he gets the ice time again tonight, I'm sure he'll learn from his mistakes. But it is a game of mistakes. So that's what the game is. The less mistakes you make, the better you'll end up. And Sergei Bobrovsky, again, was there to bail him out.
Absolutely.
And this series now, Bob, it's a best of 5. The Blue Jackets have their first 2 games at home. There's no time to wait and see. And I think that's the message. And we know John Tortorella doesn't really give anybody time to wait and see anyways. But that bodes well for the room, the players, and what they expect and what's expected of them. So that's why these parts are going to change from game to game.
And coming back here at home where this team had success in the very first round, they're comfortable here. There was 2 days off in between Game 2 and Game 3. Does that benefit anybody? Actually, does it benefit the Bruins who had played a 7-game series and then had to get right back into another one a day after?
Yeah, they circled Sunday and Monday on their calendar. And their ideal situation would be to come to Columbus up 2-0. The Blue Jackets had something to say about that. So now they know. They know they're in a grind of a series here with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I still think they're overlooking the Blue Jackets a little bit, and I think that bodes well for Columbus. This is going to be something that I don't know if the Bruins are ready for these fans. I don't know if the Blue Jackets, I don't know who's ready for these fans in this building tonight because it's going to be wild and crazy, and that's the reputation and that's the atmosphere that they're going to have to adjust to quickly. And
with all of that being said, Jean-Luc, how important can that first goal be in a game like this?
It's going to be huge. I think the building's going to be rocking tonight. There's no doubt about it. But if the Blue Jacket can score that first goal, hear that cannon going, I think it's going to be a real party in here.
I don't think we'll be able to hear the cannon.
Probably not.
The crowd's going to be that loud, I think. I mean, it's going to be a buzz in here. And the Blue Jackets, they understand. And not only the first goal for the crowd, but you don't want to be chasing the game. That allows them to play that defensive hockey that we've seen them play in the first part of this playoffs.
All right, Jody's going to move out. He'll join me on the radio broadcast in just a bit. Coming up next, we're going to hear from Blue Jackets head coach John Tortorella as we continue with the pregame show here on the El Dorado Gaming Southern Downs Blue Jackets Radio Network.